I am a country girl from the hills of Tennessee. I grew up on a farm with my grandparents, and my grandfather was a Korean Vietnam War veteran. Rock bottom is just a moment, and I was going to bounce back. So there's what the sender sends out and what the receiver receives. Hi, my name is Charlynda Scales. I'm a mom. I'm an author, a disabled military veteran.
Your host of The Trampoline Effect.
So when I was on active duty, I'd been on active duty in the Air Force for 8 years. And I was in my kitchen, my apartment at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And I was making something and all I could think of was, this really sucks. I'm not a great cook. And my grandfather had made this sauce in 1956. And we would put it on everything. It was just that one jar of sauce in the fridge. At that moment, I had called my mother. My grandfather had passed maybe a year or so after I graduated college, but he was the first person to salute me on active duty. And I asked her if anyone knew the recipe of his 5 children. She said, "Come see me." And when I saw her, she handed me an envelope. This envelope contained the original recipe in my grandfather's handwriting. And she said, "Your grandfather asked me to give this to you before he passed away." And at that moment enters the inner critic, because everything in me said that I am not qualified to have this piece of paper. His children were still alive. I'm the 3rd grandkid. And if I made anything in the family, at the family dinner, they would always want to know, what did Charlynda make? Because we're not going to eat it. So I felt wholly unqualified. I'm not a food scientist. I'm not a chef. I've never owned a company. And I've been entrusted with something so precious. Sometimes the greatest gifts are given to the seemingly most unqualified person. In this podcast episode, we're going to talk about how we deal with that inner critic, because the inner critic shows up everywhere. They've given it names: imposter syndrome, self-doubt. It's just that one little voice inside of your head that keeps you from the life that you deserve to live. But here's the truth. The inner critic is a liar. It is feeding off of your fears and insecurities. And if I had listened to the inner critic, Mutt Sauce would not be here after 11 years, thriving and doing well. On top of that, I wouldn't be here sharing all of this knowledge with you. So let's work together now and go through the steps of how to defeat the inner critic. Remember, you don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel qualified to be qualified. Especially if you own a small business, the first thing you have to do is write down the steps and just start. Step 1. Step 1 is the hardest part of the whole process. With anything you've ever tried, became the decision of starting. Starting a podcast. Starting school. There's never going to be the right time to start. But once you make that list, you have to take inventory of your life, because the most important thing is that whatever your professional goal is, it takes care of your personal life. It is very considerate of the fact that you are someone's parent. You're someone's daughter, son. You are important to your inner circle. And that inner circle did not sign up for whatever journey that you are taking on professionally. Even if you look at our military troops, right? You're excited to join the military. Maybe you grow a family. That family has to be shown the grace and communication that they deserve. Balance won't always happen. So you have to let them know that they're part of the team, even though this was your idea. So you make the list, you communicate your challenges to the people that care about you, and then you have to do what I call hire what you suck at. Some processes are complicated, and that's what makes you not start to begin with. I don't know how to do lighting, but I know a guy. I don't know how to write a book as well as my book was written. I had a team that pulled the words out of my heart and got them on paper. You have to surround yourself with those people. Find that inner circle, make sure that they are trustworthy, and do the painstaking process of execution. And I say painstaking because this journey is not always going to be comfortable. And if you do it right, you're going to be uncomfortable for a long time. But with every uncomfortable step that you take, you're getting the strength that you need. You're going to become more comfortable in those circles. You're going to be more comfortable walking the path that you're on. And then eventually you'll look back and you'll go, wow, that was 11 years ago. You can do it. If you take those 3 steps, take inventory, communicate, get an inner circle that can help you. That inner critic will not stand a chance. I believe in you.